Hey everybody, Shane here, Shoebox Legends. Thanks for tuning in for an episode today that is going to be dedicated to the great Buck Leonard, a really fantastic and fascinating player who you may or may not know much about. Definitely one of the premier sluggers of his day, all the way back in the 1930s and 40s. An infamous player in the Negro Leagues, and he played for the Homestead Grays from 1934 through 1950. And he spent his entire 15-year professional career with that team. It was the longest stint of any player with one franchise across the history of the Negro Leagues. And in the same way that we appreciate guys like Cal Ripken Jr. In our hobby who stuck with one team for their entire career, that was certainly the case for Buck. He often batted cleanup behind Josh Gibson on those Homestead Grays teams. And collectively, they became known as, Josh Gibson was known as the Black Babe Ruth. And then as such, Buck Leonard, because he played first base and because he was an admired and kind of quiet, admirable person, was known as the Black Lou Gehrig. In fact, Monty Irvin, I think it was, had a famous quote that if these guys were allowed to play in Major League Baseball at the time, it would have been the other way around, and they would have called Lou Gehrig the White Buck Leonard, which is kind of funny. So yeah, just great player. He was a 2-time batting champion in the Negro Leagues, an 11-time All-Star, and he helped propel the Grays to 3 Negro World Series championships during his career. And later in life, he actually turned down an offer to join Major League Baseball, feeling that he was just too old. This was in 1952, I think it was. He was well into his mid-40s and just kind of realized that his best days were behind him and he wasn't going to be able to cut it, sadly, at the major league level. So never realized that dream. But during his career in the Negro Leagues, he was generally regarded as a top 5 player. It was he and Josh Gibson that were routinely at the top of the batting charts every year, the power numbers, home run leaders, things like that, just year in and year out. He was elected to the Baseball Hall of Fame, the MLB Hall of Fame in 1972, the year after Satchel Paige. And in 1999, he was actually named the number 47 player on the Sporting News Top 100 Baseball Players. That was done at the end of the century. And then lastly, in Joe Posnanski's The Baseball 100, ongoing series of articles that were turned into a book. I know many of us enjoy that. He was ranked number 53 in that book as well. So one of the best players ever to play the game. Sadly, as is the case with all of these guys who are discriminated against, we'll never know exactly how he would have fared against his counterparts in the major league, but we'll just have to trust that he was definitely one of the best guys in the game throughout the 30s and 40s, and I enjoy collecting him for that reason. He does not have any playing era cards whatsoever. I don't even think he has any cards that came out before his Hall of Fame induction, to be honest. There are a couple in the 70s, but I've been focusing on his modern cards over the last couple of years, and there were really 2 sets in particular, aside from this one, which I should briefly talk about. He was included in 2024 in the ongoing Topps Living project, featuring the 1953 Topps design. So that's a really fun card that you can get for just a couple bucks. Highly recommend that one. But on the shiny card front, he made 2 checklists last year from Panini that I thought were really, really neat. The first one, he was in the Panini Select release. And here is a kind of gold shimmer example, but it's a great card, horizontal orientation, awesome post-swing photograph there. It's a little hard to make out. I'll show you a different parallel here. This is a tougher one to find. This is numbered out of 10. Got copy 7 of 10 that you can see there. But I do have a few others, and including this one, which I've shown before, the really fun zebra parallel, not numbered, but not easy to find. In fact, I think this is scarcer than the one we just looked at that is numbered to 10. And then in that release, we had 2 one-of-ones. And I have one of them that I managed to acquire. This is the Black Snakeskin Pulsar, which I know is really funny. Like Mike Petty would have a ball with that card name, and I totally get it. But yeah, this is a Homestead Grays Panini Select card from 2023. You can really see the photo well on this one. It's a famous photograph of Buck, which we will get to actually shortly as well. But I love it. Just really, really well done. There's something cool. I love the juxtaposition. I've mentioned before, between the Homestead Grays and a modern shiny baseball card. There've just been very, very few opportunities to like team collect the Homestead Grays, so to speak. And as you can see on the back of this one, it is a 1-of-1 right there in the corner. So really kind of sneaky, awesome Buck Leonard card. You'll never see another on anyone else's channel. However, that's not the end of the story. I really went in heavily on Buck Leonard. I was focusing on Negro League players last year as a major part of my collecting focus. And so when he made some of these checklists, it was just too good to pass up. And I mentioned that that was one of 2 1-of-1s that existed in the Panini Select release. The other one was the much more well-known and widely appreciated gold vinyl, which is kind of the 1-of-1. It's akin to the Topps Chrome Superfractor. And amazingly enough, Buck Leonard's Select Gold Vinyl surfaced on eBay as well. And I was able to capture this one, win it, and add it to the collection last year. Did not have an opportunity to show it off on the channel until now, but this is a premier Buck Leonard card. This one I much prefer over the black snakeskin pulsar that we saw a minute ago. That one's a little hokey, but I had this one already, and so when that one popped up, I couldn't, pass up the opportunity to get them both and have them paired together in my collection. But there's no question out of the 2, this one is absolutely gorgeous. I love how this looks with the old-timey photograph. Again, Homestead Grays right on the front of the card. Just incredible. This is a very, very special card. Probably not, it's hard for me to articulate just what these mean to me. But again, 1-of-1, just like the last one that we saw, and these pair so well together. So there are your only 2 Buck Leonard 1-of-1s from 2023 Panini Select, and was able to amazingly acquire both of them. But that is not my personal favorite Buck Leonard card to have come out. There was one I liked even more, and that was Panini Prism, which you've been looking at in the background here. This is my favorite set from Panini, and it really became so beginning in 2023 when they had to start including retired greats to fill up the checklist due to their Major League Baseball Players Association license kind of lapsing. And so Buck Leonard made the checklist in 2023. I've shown a bunch of them before. Here's another one that's been on the channel, another one of these gold shimmers, in this case numbered as well to 10. So pretty tough card there. I love the image on this one. Another great post-swing shot there. A really, really cool card. So I've been kind of collecting these, and there are definitely more of these in the Negro League Z Folio that I'll be showing off in the future. But here's one that I just got in. This one surfaced on eBay. I waited about 1.5 years to see one of these copies. This is the black and gold shimmer, and these are really tough being numbered out of just 5. So I've copied 1 of 5. Sort of working on a rainbow for this particular Buck Leonard. I just think it's cool that it's his only Prism card. He was not included on the checklist in 2024, so barring an appearance in 2025, this is the one and only Buck Leonard Homestead Grays Prism card. I've showed the standard gold number to 10 of that before, but all of this was to pave the way for what is my overall favorite Buck Leonard card. I cannot believe this one even, showed up on eBay, quite honestly, or that I was able to convince the seller to sell it to me, but I was able to pick up the Prism Gold Vinyl 1-of-1. This looks absolutely stunning. I do think it's actually coming across pretty well on video. Just incredible. This is, if I were to rank all the cards that I picked up in the hobby in 2024, and there were hundreds of them, I am not exaggerating when I say this is a top 5 pickup for me across last year. And it wasn't, a wallet buster. It wasn't a cheap card. It is a 1-of-1, but it barely qualified for eBay authentication. It's already graded in a nice, beautiful slab from PSA, Fine 9, my favorite grade. And really, that doesn't even matter because the pop is going to be 1 and always 1 because it is a 1-of-1, and you can see that on the back here as well. I just prefer this card to the Select card out of the 2. And so this is, arguably one of the best Buck Leonard cards in my mind that exists so far in the hobby. And I just think that's really, really cool and neat for somebody, especially who doesn't have any vintage or playing era cardboard. I think that kind of takes the coolness factor up even another notch with that Superfractor. But then I'm actually going to close out with 2 oversized cards that I picked up just because I was really on a run with Buck Leonard. And these are the Negro Leagues postcards that came out, I believe, in the early 90s, 1991, somewhere around there. But I got one of the East All-Star team from 1948. I mentioned in the intro, Buck Leonard was an 11-time Negro League All-Star, which is just awesome. And so this was an appropriate card to get. And as you can see, a couple of guys scribbled on this one. This is a PSA DNA authenticated autograph, dual auto of Wilmer Fields up top. He was a great two-way player. I've talked about him before as well in the history of the channel. But you could think of him as an early Shohei Ohtani of sorts of the Negro Leagues. Great hitter, but also a great pitcher and a two-way threat. Love having his autograph on here. And then, of course, I should say, Buck Leonard across the bottom, bold autograph. Both of these guys are represented on the roster here. I love this team photo. Just so neat. If we take a look at the back of the card, here this is a postcard. 10,000 of these printed, as I said, from 1991. Negro League Legends. And I don't have this whole postcard set. I would love to collect more of them. But I did pick up a couple of the autographed versions just because I really think this is kind of a cool piece, just an awesome piece of baseball history. I know it's from the 90s and it's not, vintage, quote unquote, but to me, this is as significant as any vintage card in my collection. And then the final one I love even more than that. This one is signed by just Buck Leonard, but it features that same amazing photograph that we see on the select card in the background, well-known photo of Buck, only we get the wide angle here featuring the catcher, the stands in the background. Love this giant autograph, with this being an oversized card. I love that Buck was not shy and just went big and bold right across the primo section of the card. Just love this, and I love how it pairs with the one-of-one. There's just something, again, I really love the juxtaposition between something that feels old like this nice sepia-toned or black and white photo of a baseball great, awesome photograph from all the way back in 1944, and then seeing that same photo kind of done up on a modern-day shiny card with artificial scarcity of being a one-in-one, just a one-of-one, I should say. Love how these pair up together, and couldn't resist this. And these postcards are not expensive. At least they weren't a year ago when I picked them up. Even autographed, I don't think I paid much more for either of these than it would cost for somebody to have an oversized item authenticated like they did here. So there is my awesome Buck Leonard auto to close it out. Really wanted his signature represented in my collection. And again, just a player that we don't hear a ton about and we'll never truly know how good he was. But I love the mystery and intrigue behind that. And I'm really, really proud to have him well represented now in my baseball card collection. And just wanted to share all of that with you here in the community. I know there are quite a few of you who are into this type of topic. So I hope you appreciated this. And if not, if you're not into this or you haven't heard of Buck Leonard, hope you learned something today, or maybe I've sparked some interest to go out and learn a little bit more about him. But in either event, I appreciate you making it with me here through 13 plus minutes of Buck Leonard baseball cards and chat. I'll be back soon, as you know. But in the meantime, hope everybody's enjoying the hobby out there. Take care.